some of the Aussies to realise that we've started, okay?
Yeah.
There we go. Look at that. Oh, 30 seconds to go. Well, I think we started just on time, or just within the first minute. So we're not on our cozy time here, folks. You know, we set this up. It was originally going to be tonight. So because Milbillie, what time in the morning is it for you?
It's 3 a.m.
Yep.
I just got off work.
Yep. And you're a bit of a night owl, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on Aussie time.
Yeah. Because I mean, when you get in at 2 a.m, it's not like you can just sort of go off to sleep, is it? You know.
I usually go to sleep at like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Wake up at like 2, 3. Go to work. Do it all over again.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yes. Good morning, Crockett. It's as I say, 3 o'clock in the morning in Central Time. But Milbillie and I got our heads together and said, look, we're going to have to do something live chat specifically for all those Aussie viewers. We really must get them, do something for them, prime time Aussie time. So you never know, we might get a few of the Aussie viewers come and have a listen. Let's cut to the chase. Fascinating video on your channel, Milbillie. I watched it yesterday and immediately got in touch with you about it. And it's the Mark Wiegert interview of Jodi Stachowski.
Yep.
Have we got that right? Yeah. It's funny, you've got that many surnames, you can sometimes slip up. But yes. And that interview, I'm going to say, was it June of 06 or was it August of 06?
It depends on which one you're referring to.
Let me have a quick look and see which one it was, because you date them all, which is great.
Yep.
You just find out. So I've got.
Yeah, I could probably find that faster. 8/31.
31st of August.
Yep.
2006. Yeah, there we go. Okie dokie. And well, first of all, what were your thoughts on the conversation there?
Up to his dirty tricks again. Every time he talks to her, same thing. Try to get him to say something bad about Stephen. And just, I don't know. She's full of shit. That's what I got from that. She's full of shit.
I feel sorry for her. I must admit I do, because through no fault of her own, she's involved in this. And I can only imagine from her point of view the fact that, you know, she's Stephen Avery's fiance. I mean, they were engaged.
Well, what about the fact that she admits that she didn't meet him at the gas station?
You mean when they first met?
Yeah. Stephen always claims that they met at the gas station.
At Michicot?
Yeah, apparently. But no, that's not what happened. She moved into Rollies first. He was sleeping in a trailer or a shanty still. Then they started dating. Then he moved.
Right. Okay, yeah. Do you think, therefore, she was perhaps realizing that this Stephen Avery is going to likely come into a substantial amount of money?
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think it's bullshit how they arrested her in the first place, because they drove past each other.
Well, yeah, because they both had to go to court, apparently, didn't they? And
they're both in police vehicles, so how the fuck do they have control of them coming in contact? They drove past each other.
I'm also remembering. I realize it was only a film with who's the guy that plays Iron Man? Is that Robert Downey Jr.?
That's him.
I remember a film where he's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets called in to represent his dad, who deliberately ran this guy off the road, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't remember what it was called, but there was a scene in it where, you know, the prosecutor says that, you know, they made eye contact, and the lawyer immediately clicks in. He says, "You cannot prove eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot prove that one person was looking at somebody else."
Yep.
So, you know, yes, it does seem rather spurious to me. But yes, I mean, look, if she was partly attracted to Steve because she thought, you know, this guy is going to be worth a lot of money, you can imagine that the sort of, from one, we see that picture of them, don't we, going to the is it like a court hearing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it would have been the Avery task force meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Where they're in Milwaukee. He's wearing a Dodge coat.
Yep. Because now that we've got the address for where those depositions took place, whatever that address is, it ain't in Manitowoc anymore.
Mm-mm.
And the actual lawyer's office, though, is actually surprisingly very close to where that other address was. So maybe they've done in the sort of 15 years, they've altered the road.
Lots changed since then.
Yeah. Yep. So, as I say, from my point of view, if Jodi, maybe she was a little bit sort of, well, we've had the gold digging Lynn Hartman, haven't we? Lynn Heartless.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've had, you know, looking back to Jodi, as you're suggesting, there's evidence that, as you say, if she was interested in Steve, shall we say, because of the fact that he was likely to receive a lot of money. Well, he did. I think as soon as he got out, he got given $25,000.
Well, yeah, that's when he bought the truck. But he didn't even enter his lawsuit when they started talking.
Right.
Well, they might have, because that was in September of 2004.
Yep.
And they met in August, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yep. I mean, the thing is, there's an interesting scene where she's on the phone and she's walking around and Bear is there and he's like laid out, you know, I mean, he's as passive as anything.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got that black T-shirt and it says something like, "I don't play well with adults."
Yeah.
which you know is fair enough.
Well, the funny thing is, where's Jodi right now? Right now, today, she's in jail.
Well, that didn't surprise me at all because obviously she liked to drink, and they've got some pretty draconian laws over there, haven't they? Whereby you're not even, you know, if you've been done for drink driving, you're not even allowed to have a drink at home.
Well, it all depends on what the judge sentenced you to.
Yeah.
If he sentenced you to no sobriety, you got no choice.
That's pretty draconian. I'm pretty sure we don't have the same here in the UK.
It all depends on your situation. Like most of the times people get released, they have to put a breathalyzer in their car. And they also have to pay for the breathalyzer to be put in their car.
Gee whiz. Yeah. Yep.
It all depends on which state you get busted in for drinking and driving. Some of them aren't as serious. Some of them are really serious. Like Las Vegas, don't want that to happen. Wisconsin, they're pretty lenient, which they shouldn't be.
It's quite an industry, though, isn't it?
One time is too many.
Yeah. So who have we got all joining us? We've got Crockett, Milbillie, you've said hello. Lou in, as I say, Australia. Good morning, Brisbane.
Hey, Maz.
And we've got Justice 104 Win. Who is this Milbillie? Well, we're about to find out.
Oh, you don't know who I am?
You should.
A lot of people don't know who I am.
We keep you under wraps, you see, and bring you out on special occasions. and Rachel and Mars. Yes, so Milbillie, well, just for the benefit then of Justice 104 Win, if you check out the Milbillie YouTube channel, there is a video. I think I have to be able to post the link, although you've just commented, haven't you?
Yeah, I should be able to do it.
Well, in that case then, but for posting links is what I'm on about. Let me just do this. Let me click on that. Let me click on. No, that's fine. You've already got the spanner, so yeah, you can click on the link. If you can do it quicker than me, then and just click the link to the video. That would be great.
There you go. Well,
Cheers.
Or to my channel.
That's fine. I mean, is that your most recent one? The interview of Jodi and Mark Regert?
The most recent one is when I was with Big Jeff.
Oh, the live chat.
Yeah, the last video I posted though was that Jodi calls.
Yeah.
The one in October of 2006 and the one in end of August.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And she'd only just been arrested, as you say, at that time for the supposedly not allowed to make any contact, but they're driving them to court, and so the cars pass each other. That, as you say, they have no control whatsoever.
Exactly.
On the two cars, what they do, and the fact that they're in, if they're in the same courthouse at the same time, you know, what can they do about it?
They arrested her. Violation of the no contact order.
Yeah, for eye contact. That's, as I say, that's pretty bizarre, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't think you can prove that eye contact. So yeah, okay. A couple of questions. Do you think that Stephen Avery is? I mean, I often refer to him as the patron saint, or he is going to become the patron saint of wrongful convictions. Do you think he's some sort of saint?
Yeah, he's going to 100%.
Well, I think from the point of view that because of the fact that he's coming up for 18 and 15 years now inside, 33 years. You know, he's done far too long. Wrongfully convicted. Making a murderer is obviously going to make him a martyr. Some people have said, you know, and I've said, I don't think Stephen Avery is this saint in his normal life.
He's just a regular old Joe.
Well, I think so.
He was just trying to live his life, make what he could of what he had left.
Yeah. I mean, the really sad part, of course, was the fact that he, as we hear in series one, episode 1, he thought he had everything. He'd got Laurie, they'd got 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'd got his family. It was all set. You know, he would just work happily at the salvage yard. You know, certainly not a saint. You know, does some daft things. I mean, one of the things I have discussed with people, do you think that particularly the police and law enforcement, when it's certain individuals, they'll tend to turn a bit of a blind eye if it's somebody from the well-to-do community, whereas if it's somebody from a lower class, they'll tend to throw the book at the guy?
Like the prosecutors, they bank on plea deals.
Yeah. They'd
rather take a plea than go to court.
Yeah.
The majority of their time is taking plea deals.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that touches on something else I saw, the Khalif Browder story. Is it called Time? Mm-hmm. Have you seen that one yet?
Mm-mm. Well
worth a watch. They've got this one judge that comes in, and in one day, in one sitting at her court, she will get 70 people come through that court who she will persuade to take a plea deal, so that it's, you know, she says to them, what would you rather do? Fight bits or take a plea deal, and then saying to them, just for the fact that the time you spent inside already, we'll let you out straight away. Just take a plea deal. As you say, very, very, very dodgy.
I can't remember where it was, but it was a small town somewhere in the United States. This judge made it mandatory for you to wear a suit when you come to court.
Mm-hmm.
And people were showing up to court not knowing they had to be in a suit, so they wouldn't let them in, and then they were found guilty by not showing up. But they weren't able to. Where does it say you have to have a dress code to go to court?
It doesn't.
Exactly.
Funny enough, I think that would be quite a good idea. I think it would make a difference. Certainly, the only times I've ever been in court, it's definitely been in a suit. And certainly in the case of Stephen Avery, in his arrest in '85 when he goes to court, it's the only time I've ever seen him in a suit. Yeah. But anyway, we're kind of digressing. We've got a few more people come and joined us. We've got. I was gonna suggest. Have we not got the great white? Yes, we have the great white sharkbait himself. Hello, Mark, Maz, Lou, Teresa Laubinger. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. What would you say for Teresa? Laub or Laub?
Laubinger.
Laubinger.
I get that right?
I reckon you've got it right there, pal. I reckon you've got it a lot closer than I reckon. And Linda Kay listening. Hi, guys. So yes, Mark and Australia. We were just saying at the start there. We decided, Milbillie and I, that we wanted to do something specifically for all the Australian supporters and do a live chat for you. So Milbillie has got up, has joined in. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning in Wisconsin, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning here. So, the trouble that we go to just for you Aussie viewers. Hope you appreciate it. Okay, we were talking about the sort of the state of mind of Stephen Avery. For somebody that's been wrongfully convicted for 18 years, we know that he says that anger left him as soon as he left the jail.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't help thinking, and I've spoken to friends of mine who are psychiatrists,
mm-hmm.
top psychiatrists, and they've said that yes, those 18 years will have been very, very detrimental. He will need, or he would have needed, as soon as he was let out, he would have needed a huge amount of counselling. And I don't think he ever got that, did he?
We don't really know.
No. But Jodi certainly meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
And
thing I noticed listening to all these jail calls, when he does tell a lie and he's called out about it, he fesses up.
Yep.
And he's very truthful too, because Jodi tells him numerous times, "You better not call her." He says, "I'm going to." I would too. What has he got to do? He's sitting in jail 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
The only person he's really talking to every day is his mother.
Yeah.
Or Debbie.
Yep.
Or Jodi.
Yep. Now, one of the things that Sneaky Regat tries to do is to try and make it obvious that this Debbie is the love of Steve's life. Do we actually know who Debbie is?
Debbie Klemp, yes. She originally wrote Stephen Avery right after he got locked up. She wrote him a letter. He then wrote her back, and she called him. He put her on his visiting list.
Yep.
And she came to see him. And then, I don't know. She was there. You can see her in Making a Murder. She's in Making a Murder. She's in the stand when they do trial. She's right there with the family.
Yep.
She also does a news interview.
So really, just somebody that is so touched by the fact that clearly they are burying this guy alive. Why? Because they can. Because it gets rid of so many problems for them.
Like, part of me thinks like Debbie was maybe even set in there by them. It's possible.
Yep. I mean,
I'm interested to hear the phone call that happens when she stops coming, because we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got some new calls. I haven't yet to look at them. I got the link for them when I was at work. They're labeled Stephen calls, but I'm hoping they're mistaken and they're actually the Brendan calls we've been waiting on.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, certainly. Mark put up a comment there. Let's just pop that one up.
He doesn't seem like a complicated individual.
No. It's pretty black and white with him, isn't it? You know, it's.
One question I want to know: was Stephen Avery actually present at every deposition that took place?
Well, as far as I know,
because it just boggles my mind that if he was actually there when Colborn did his deposition, why didn't he recognize him when he talked to him on the 3rd?
Yeah. But also, I would have thought that having Stephen Avery there present would have seriously antagonized the guys giving the depositions, don't you think?
Yeah. Like, he might have been present, but I don't think he was in the same room as it was going on.
Right, okay.
We don't know.
No. Yeah, there you go. There's Linda asking. You hope so?
I don't know. I haven't listened to them yet. I heard somebody say they might be the calls that are from October to November 10th or 7th. I don't know.
To Stephen. From Stephen. Yeah.
Well, Kaboom said there are Stephen calls, but I've yet to actually look.
Right, okay.
So let's find out.
Yeah. Now, at one point, and I can only imagine that throughout America you would have heard the cheering from Travis when Jodi says, basically, I'm not going to discuss that with you without my attorney present.
Yep.
And finally, somebody realizes that, in this situation, although you want to try and prove that you've nothing to hide and you don't need lawyer representation because you're being honest, maybe you do. And he actually asks, Mark Wiegert asks, well, how can you afford an attorney?
Yep. And she said, Dean Strang paid for it.
Yep. Well, Dean Strang got the money from
Stephen Avery.
So really, I'm thinking, well, who is actually paying for this then? It's the money that Stephen Avery was awarded for his civil suit, isn't it?
Yeah, $240,000.
Yeah, and I mean, if you remember in that one clip of Dean Strang, he says, look, it doesn't matter who, defends Brendan Dassey or represents these people, as long as somebody would actually do some defending. So presumably Dean Strang has said, we want this guy, what was his name again? Tuning.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, this clearly seemed to irritate law enforcement, Wiegert and Kratz.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she had then been given this representation. And and I think you, like me, are aware of the efforts of Kratz to try and undermine the this representation.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we have a quick look at this email? If you could read it out for me, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm about to get a little closer here.
Go on then. I can make it a bit bigger for you.
No, I just got to move it to a different monitor.
Sure. So as I say, if you've watched the video of on the Milbillie channel of Jodi and Wiegert chat together, as I say, they he does ask him. He asks her about something. You know, she I think she uses the term, "I've got stuff that I could bury him with."
Yeah, she says she definitely says that.
Yeah, and then when he asked for sort of qualification of that, she says, "Well, you know, just stuff that went on." You know,
Mm-hmm.
well, you know, look, is Stephen the perfect husband?
I bet you they're wishing she said what she said when they first talked to her back in February before they went after Brendan. Because she said all that stuff then, they could have had a whole different narrative instead of her being shot in the head inside the garage.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it says, Dear Attorney Chewing, I received your letter dated July 24th, 2006, wherein you bring my attention attempted contact with Jodi Stachowski by Sergeant Mark Wiegert of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department. As I am sure you are aware, I have made no attempts to contact Ms. Stachowski and a suspect, at least for sake of argument, that I may be precluded from contacting Ms. Stachowski pursuant to SR 2042. I will note that the ethical code precludes contact with Ms. Stachowski about the subject of representation, which of course begs a question, which is, why is Ms. Stachowski being represented? Who has retained you? These questions become important when hypothetically considering attempts to preclude legitimate law enforcement inquiries of witnesses who are made unavailable by criminal defendants. In this case, if Stephen Avery or his agent has retained you to preclude law enforcement officers obtaining relevant information about Mr. Avery's criminal case from Ms. Stachowski, that is a financial arrangement that I believe you are obligated to disclose. If there are legitimate reasons for Ms. Stachowski's representation by you, I am happy to discuss your concerns with the law enforcement officials. Please note, however, I have not directed any law enforcement official to contact Ms. Stachowski, and they are not my agent in this law enforcement contact. I would note that it appears Ms. Stachowski has no Fifth Amendment rights of counsel, as she is not in custody, nor does she have the Sixth Amendment right to counsel, as she has no pending criminal violations that I'm aware of. I must again ask, why is this subject matter of your representation? I will pass along your letter to Sheriff Pagel, together with my response, noting that I have not directed law enforcement to contact Ms. Stachowski. However, you may wish to provide legal authority which you believe prevents law enforcement officials from contacting witnesses in a non-custodial setting who is not directed to do so by a licensed attorney. Finally, should I subpoena Ms. Stachowski as a witness and intend to meet her to prepare her testimony, I will notify you and give you a proper opportunity to present. Sincerely, Kenneth R. Kratz, District Attorney.
Let's put that back to here, and let's just this is what I should have been doing when I was having all that problem. I mean, it doesn't matter who pays for Jodi Stachowski to have legal representation.
Mm-hmm.
And she can ask for that legal representation whenever she's about to be interviewed by Uyghur, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So that letter kind of puzzles me a bit.
Well, Uyghur, I think it's, which one is it? I think it's let's see. Yeah, in 8:31 they interview her, and then they come back about 2 months later. Well, a month and 10 days when Fassbender present. The first time was with Uyghur and Baldwin, and we don't. I believe we don't have that whole interview. The first one from the 27th, or the 15th of February, because all the other ones we see them walk into the room, like Brendan Dassey's, we see them walk into the room. Stephen Avery's interview, we see them walk into the room. Jodi's, it starts. They're already sitting down in there.
Yes.
So, where's part A? Because they talk about letters, we don't see them do the letters. All we do is hear them listen to one phone call. Just like Earl's interview, I believe we're missing part of that too. I mean, we don't even have Bobby Dassey's interviews. We just have transcripts from him that is in queso, which I believe are garbage. I mean, he's interviewed on the 5th. He's interviewed on the 9th. He's going to get interviewed on the 27th. And why do they, on the 27th of February, they talk to Brendan Dassey at his school, audio record it, and then they take him to the Tree Rivers Police Department to video record it. Then they interview Brian Dassey. But prior to interviewing Bobby Dassey, they all get together and they watch Brendan Dassey's interview. Now, on the 1st, they mentioned they reviewed their tapes, they reviewed their notes.
Yes. Yep. they
claim they don't have any other interviews prior to that. Why are they lying?
I mean,
they tried in queso that they recorded his video recording at Two Rivers Police Department.
I remember in particular when they're interviewing Brendan and they finally get him to say that you must have seen something in the fire. You must have seen something in the fire.
Toes.
And then a couple of paragraphs later, Fassbender says, so let's see, what have you got so far? You've got a forehead, you've got arms and legs and feet and so on, and it's like, Brendan, you didn't say any of that.
They fuck up in his interview because they get him to start saying stuff happened in the garage. They forgot about the part where, when did he start the fire? Did he already, they're like, well, they're stupid. Like, first, Brendan says that it happened outside the garage.
Well, sorry, I'm being distracted by the laundry woman who's decided that now's a good time to...
That's the only time I'm good to come in. Hi there. I'm good to do laundry for him and do cleaning up and stuff like that,
Yes. Goodbye. Yeah. Bye for now. Right. Sorry about that. It's very distracting, barging and, Anyway, sorry. You were saying about the Brendan interview. Sorry, could you just retrack on that last little bit? As I say, I was getting totally...
Well, on March 1st, and within like the first 10 minutes of the interview, you hear not only Uyghur, but Fassbender make the comment, we reviewed the tape.
Exactly,
our notes.
Yeah.
And things aren't making sense.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Then they get him to say that something happened. They leave the room, come back, and then they get him to say, like, he had no clue what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like he asked, am I going to be able to get back to 6 hour?
Yep. Yeah. It's that's crazy. Can we move on to the second email?
Yep.
Yeah. Because obviously this response from Kratz, tuning fights his corner.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I've just seen this comment.
Mm-hmm.
No. It ain't happening. Definitely not letting her see that anyway. Here we go with the. I've got it all lined up. I should have anyway. And so we'll do this.
We just read.
There we go. So this is, definitely. So this is just after, isn't it? This is September the 5th, 2006. And that interview was in the Wiegert and Jodi was.
So this is 5 days after.
August 31st. Yeah, that's right. So is that okay for you, mate? Do you want it a bit bigger? I can get it a bit bigger for you.
No,
it's probably better for the people viewing as well, that they can see this properly. So this is Jeffrey Froelich.
Mm-hmm.
He's this Julie Laverne's. I've come across hers before. These are all guys that all got awards, didn't they, for their.
Dear Attorney Tuning, I received your facsimile this morning regarding Jodi and Stachowski. You claim that our exchange of letters is not accomplishing anything. You wanted to speak with me regarding a recent blatant disregard of your request to present during contact with law enforcement. In my July 31st, 2006 correspondence to you, I indicated the law enforcement was not my agent in this regard. I do not and have not directed contact with Mr. Stachowski for any reason. Law enforcement is free to perform legitimate investigations, especially when an attorney refuses to identify with specificity the subject of the representation, which the attorney claims, in the words of an attorney unwilling to identify the reason for his or her representation. Law enforcement cannot be expected to guess at the nature of the relationship. In August 7th, 2006, response to me, you did identify that you request Ms. Stachowski because she is currently on probation. By implication, then, you do not represent Ms. Stachowski on the Stephen Avery investigation. Law enforcement is free to interview your client, about the Stephen Avery investigation without your being present. If you do not represent Ms. Stachowski on the Avery matter, how can you claim entitlement to present? The far more interesting scenario is if at some point in the future you assess that Ms. Stachowski's role as a material witness in the Stephen Avery investigation falls within the scope of your representation, as Ms. Stachowski and Stephen Avery himself claimed that Attorney Dean Strang, on behalf of Stephen Avery, has paid for your attorney's fees for representation, and all kinds of state and federal evidentiary, ethical, and potential criminal liability may follow. So that you don't need to read between the lines, I'm suggesting that you consideration given to Ms. Stachowski, including payment of your attorney fees by Stephen Avery or his agent, in exchange for efforts to thwart legitimate law enforcement investigation in Stephen Avery's criminal case, which amount to hush money. In your participation in possibly Attorney Strang's, I can't even believe this, in such scheme would have significant consequences. Is it clear enough? Therefore, I ask you again whether Stephen Avery or anyone Mr. Avery's behalf has provided you with anything of value to provide presentation, Ms. Stachowski, in matter of State of Wisconsin versus Stephen Avery, Manitowoc County case number C5. F381, if you expected law enforcement agents to allow you presence during interviews regarding the Stephen Avery investigation, I require a response to that question. As I attempted to make clear in the past, I have not directed law enforcement to contact your client. I suggest you communicate directly with the Calumet County Sheriff's Department or the law enforcement agencies that you wish to prohibit from contacting Mr. Stachowski on some yet unknown theory of representation. You have been an attorney long enough to understand that you cannot assert a Fifth Amendment privilege on behalf of your client. It is my understanding that Ms. Stachowski was asked whether she wanted an attorney present during questioning. She indicated no. As the Fifth Amendment right to counsel is personal to the client, it cannot be anticipatorily invoked by counsel. Your indignant tone, your September 2nd letter appears unfounded. Sincerely.
Yeah. Sincerely, Kenneth Rapist Price.
The Prize.
The Prize, yes. I mean, clearly that is not what happened, because we hear or we see in that video that Jodi says, I'm not going to discuss that without my lawyer present, and that she wants legal representation from then on. Because I think, isn't it interesting that she says that, yes, she's on their side and she's got stuff that could bury Steve. It never comes to court.
Nope.
It never, and the fact that she does point out, I have an attorney now. I know who's paying for that.
There's a lot of things she says in those interviews that doesn't make any sense.
I think she's caught between.
Like, she says things that she can't back up what she just said.
Yeah. She does seem a bit confused at the time, but I've put down with exclamation marks that Kratz in that email says that they are not my agents.
Okay.
Well, who's running this shit show?
How come he's signing all the fucking documents for him?
Yeah.
All search warrants. It's not a judge signing off on all of them. It's Ken Kratz crossing out where the judge is supposed to sign his name and writing his name in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's on a lot of them.
But I thought yes, we've got even more people joined us now. Anna, hello there, and nice to see you. It must be stupid o'clock in the morning for Anna as well, but hell, thanks for joining us. It's bright and sunny out here, and yes, Linda, that was a load of, well, it wasn't just crap, but it was also threatening, wasn't it? It was all this, you get the sense that Kratz enjoyed having Len Kaczynski being Brendan's lawyer, because Len Kaczynski would have been completely compliant to everything that Kratz wanted from him.
Well, after Len Kaczynski walks out of court and they're asking him questions and he doesn't know they're live.
Yep.
And he's like, well, can we start this over? And like, we're live. Right after that, Kratz writes him an email asking him not to talk to media no more.
Yep. And, clearly he does not like the fact that this attorney Tuning, who I presume is a defense lawyer who perhaps knows of or has had experience of in the past.
Well, Kratz also tried to stop Dean Strain from becoming Stephen Avery's lawyer.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Listen to the calls. I mean, there's so much information. Like just the jail calls, the dispatch calls. Unless you know what you're listening for, you're not going to.
Yeah. And on what grounds was he wanting Dean Strang not to be involved?
He wanted to keep his public defender.
But
the judge okayed it, put it through, made everything go through. That was on the 27th. Why did they throw Stephen in the hole? That's the same day they also go to talk to Brendan. Remember, they talked to Jodi, on the 15th of February. They know she's about to get out in like 7 days. They tried their best to get her to flip by playing on phone calls from Debbie. Why are they bringing up Barb's blazer being burned, saying it's Stephen's? It's not his. He has an alibi. Why is it still an open case on his record? And right before they leave the room, Uyghur brings it up again. So anything you know about that blazer? All I know is it wasn't Stephen, it was Barb's. I mean, they try to get Jodi to flip. Well, first they went after Marie, because they were trying to get any other charge they could. Because he was about to get, the land was about to be
put up for bail.
For his bail. He was about to get bailed out. So then they throw him in the hole. They get Brendan to say what he says. Like Stephen Avery's reaction when he first hears from Kelly what Brendan said. Well, god damn.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
if you listen to the first phone call that when Stephen talks to Barb after they go visit Brendan in jail. I think it's on the second or third. They're telling him, "You're right, Stephen. You're right." She was telling him the whole time, "Get your son's lawyers."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you could see where they were headed.
And if you read, Barb's the one that mentioned the fire before Blaine. Then Blaine's statement changed.
Yeah.
You look at what happened in his pretrial, and then everybody's stories changed. Dean and Jerry even tried pointing that out, and the judge ignored everything. Stephen had no chance. He should have never stopped his lawsuit. Ever. He should have kept it going. That was his best chance. Because if he
yeah, absolutely. I mean that's that Laura Riccardi phone call, isn't it? When she says, "Why have you settled?" And she points out, nothing to do with the money.
No, it's
to do with the fact that you
clearing your name too.
Yeah.
And it's not Stephen Avery's fault that when he was released from prison in 2003, that they dropped all the charges. Because when he went to court in '85 for the '85 case, they included the Sandra Moore case together, so he was tried together.
Yeah.
So when they released him, they dropped all the charges. Kratz reinstated that charge on the 8th. They arrested him on the 9th. They didn't arrest him for finding bones. They didn't arrest him for finding the key. They didn't arrest him for anything they found. They arrested him for being a felon in possession of a gun.
Yep.
They had nothing on him.
Yep. Which isn't even his gun.
And the media didn't help at all.
Oh no,
they're getting all their information from the sheriff. So
yeah, it's they for me, I've sort of stopped calling them the media. They are just the propaganda agents.
From Kratz to Dean Strang, Kratz to Kaczynski, all their correspondence, all the stuff they're going to talk about before trial. Dean and Jerry tried tricking them up a couple times, but it didn't work. Like when they bring up the voicemails being accessed. What does he say? Well, if we had an inkling idea that they were trying to say that she was still alive, we would have investigated this.
That wasn't what they were saying at all.
No.
They were just putting out that
just like
Stephen Avery.
Even Avery never said that law enforcement killed Teresa Halbach. He's just saying he's being framed for it. What does Kratz do? He flips the script. Well, if you believe just the things he says, so what if the key was planted? Forget about the key. You got to take this leap. You got to make sure that these cops did this heinous crime. No.
Listen, we're coming up for nearly 50 minutes. Believe it or not, I've got to go off because it's just coming up for 9 o'clock. I've got my first pupil today at 9. I'm going to go and do a bit of piano tuition. So I'm gonna thank you very much for joining us and reading through those emails.
No problem.
It just piqued my interest when I saw what the subject matter of that video was. Wiegert and Jodi, and I thought, hold on a sec, I've heard that name tuning before. Yeah, that's exactly at that right time frame.
Yep.
When he's doing what any good attorney is doing is saying, look,
and that
you do not interview.
Those emails lead into them talking to Jodi again in October.
Yeah.
With Wendy Baldwin and Mark Wiegert.
Yep. Okie.
And Dave Remaker is the one that brings her to see them at the Trivers Police Department.
And is that something that you're looking forward to getting a hold of as well?
What?
The next interview in October?
I have that one.
Right.
11th, 10/11, 2006.
10/11, 2006. I must check that out.
Yeah.
10/11. Now, that's October the 11th.
Mm-hmm.
We do it differently in the UK. We do the
Day of the month, yeah, I know.
day, then the month. But your month, day, year.
Yeah.
I will check that out.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hopefully, in America, hopefully in America, you will now go back to having a nice sleep. And if you're in Australia, then you'll have a nice evening. And we'll catch you again soon, Milbillie. Thank you very much for joining me.
No problem.
And I will go and check out that video. Thanks, everybody, and catch you again later.
Later.
Bye for now.